Hello, all, wherever you are on this sensational, mysterious, thought provoking world we call Earth in the United States. I wish you well. My topic for the name today is what is the name of the Creator? Here in the Western world, the United States specifically, we go around saying God, God, God. But during my brief research, we're going to learn about that term God and what is the creators of when I mean the creator who talked to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And he talked to the Messiah and all of them, but really, I'm focused on the one who talked to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Moses, the person, the deity who actually spoke to Moses. Does he have a name? Does he? So let's start now. Okay, here we go back again. The word God. In a monotheistic society, whether it's Islam or so called Christianity, God is usually viewed as the supreme being, creator, and principal object of faith. In polytheistic belief systems, a God is a spirit or being believed to have created or for controlling some part of the universe or life, for which such a deity is often worshipped. Belief in the existence of at least one deity who may interact with the world is called theism. Okay, but still, it just tells us about the word God. It didn't say he had a name. For instance, the Vikings called the god name was Odin. It was called the god, but he called Odin. It was called Thor. It's a god, but it's called Thor. It had a name. And I know the Hindu religion, they have gods, and all their gods have a name. But here, in the Western world in particular, we don't give him his name. We just say God. God can be Hercules, it could be Thor, it could be Zeus, Odin, whoever. That's what God means. It's just a generic title. A generic title. Now, okay, here we go. From the Bible or the book or maybe even the Quran. Exodus 27. You shall not take the name. Okay, here we go. But we call him God. But that's not his name. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God. See, he tell you he's a God, but he has a name in vain. For the Lord will not leave any unpunished who takes his name in vain. So, because the Creator was talking to me about this, I call him his name. I'm gonna get into his name later. I call him as his name now, as as much I can in the English language. It's not the actual words because in the actual language it sounds different. But in my English language, I strive to call him that name that I'm gonna go over later. But you see right now, it says you shall not take the name of the Lord your God. It said your God. See, his name is not God. His name is not God in vain. So let's keep going. So remember, his name is not God. And that could be why I was talking to other people. That's why my people here in the United States could have been punished so savagely because we was calling God like the Gentiles called God. The Gentiles say God, the slave master called God, and the slave calling God. It don't add up. Slave master calling God and a slave calling God. That don't compute, does it? Let's keep going. Now this is the part that got me. This is the part that turned me around forever. The spirit of the Most High whispered to me. It said, read Exodus chapter 3. I knew that name that I'm going to bring up later. I knew it for years, for decades. I knew it, but I never used it. But then that whisper say, read when Moses was talking to me. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers, has sent me to you. And they asked, what is his name? You get me? They asked, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? God said to Moses, I am. Here we go. That is his name in the English language. Now, when I use that expression closer to the original language, it's going to be different from the way they said, but in English, we should be calling him I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am, right here we go again, in English language, I am has sent me to you. I am has sent me to you. Let's keep progressing. Exodus chapter 3 again. Now, there's another, and then this came to my mind. See, when I heard that whisper, I just read the part that say, I am who I am. Then a couple of weeks ago, another whisper said, keep reading further. Keep reading it further to get more information. God said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of, like I said earlier, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. That is the name that I'm going to be using, has sent me to you. Now, here we go again. This is my name forever. Not today, not tomorrow, not for a year. He said, this is my name forever. Let me underline it again. This is my name forever. You are to use that name. The name you shall call me. This is the next part. From generation to generation. I should be calling him that name. My grandparents should be calling him that name. Their grandparents should be calling him that name. And their grandparents. From generation to generation. Because he said forever. This is the name you are to call me. Forever and ever. Now, that is his name as close as we can get it in the English language. What does Yahweh mean? Or I heard it also Yahuwah, but it still got that main part Yah in there. So whether I say Yahuwah or Yahweh, whenever I use it, I'm saying I am. That's what I'm calling. I'm going to bring up some other thing, what it means to you. Whenever I use that term Yahweh, in my spirit, I know I'm saying I am. Because in the English language, it's a little bit longer to say I am. It's easy to say Yahweh. See, I am, I had to say two words. Yahweh, two words, but the sound is close together. Yahweh, translated from Hebrew. See, it's coming from the Hebrew language. Here got the actual spelling right here. Let me read it again. Let me say it again. It's translated from Hebrew, close to the original language, not from English, whether it's the New English or the Old English, not from Spaniards, not from Italians, not from Ethiopians, not from Nigerians, but it's coming from the Hebrew, often recognized as the primary covenant. See, here it is. It's the covenant name. Remember when he made that covenant with them in the mountains, his covenant name for God and here we go again. I am. So whenever I use it in my spirit, I'm saying I am. Encompasses God, eternal existence. Sovereign declares, I am who I am. Identify himself as the cut off. This name underscores that God has life in himself and did not derive from any other being. The name Yahweh is derived from, like I said again, it comes from the Hebrew language. Verb meaning that is, to be, or to become. So Yahweh means I am, or to be, to become. That's all it means. See, simple. And you know the Creator, He likes to keep things nice and simple. He don't make things complicated and stressful. He keeps everything nice and simple. And it makes complete sense. Because He said, I'm a simple God. So there we go. I call Him Yahweh. That's what I call Him from now on. I go around people, I say Yahweh. And when I use the word Yahweh to people, no one opposes what I'm doing. No one ever say, what in the world is that? No, because everyone know the name. Like I said, I know for decades. I knew that word Yahweh, but I never used it. So the people who I encountered, they know the name Yahweh, but they never use it. Never figure out why. Because the Western world, no offense taken, the Gentiles, the Western world, got our mind transfixed on that word God. And that's why we, the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that's why we receiving this curse right now. That's what the Spirit said to me. You are getting this curse because you can't even keep the covenant name. You going around saying God. And I was talking to parents too, because I don't have any children, but I was talking to parents, ex-parents. How would you react if your son or daughter called you another name? Not mom, not dad, but some other name. They said they would not take it. So when we call Yahweh God, He may hear us. I ain't gonna say He don't hear us, but it may be like Paul, it may be foggy. Because I know right now, good people, when I've been using that name Yahweh, I've been getting blessing after blessing after blessing. It is coming, pouring. When I was saying God, I had many bad habits. And I ain't gonna tell you some of my bad habits were. Even though I try to walk with the Creator, even when I was saying God, I had some bad habits. Now that I said Yahweh, I have strength to overcome them bad habits now. Because I use that name Yahweh. So the blessing, I've been blessed. Let me go on to the next slide. All right. I am, or the Eternal One. Yahweh is the primary, like I said, the covenant name for God in the Hebrew scriptures. See? In that Hebrew Bible, I'm sure it says Yahweh or whatever language they have it in. It ain't saying God all over the place. Often interpreted as I am. Let me see this blocking a little bit. Let me bring this down. I am. Every time I say Yahweh, in my spirit, I'm saying I am. Or the Eternal One. It is mentioned over, here we go right here, over 6,800 times in the Old Testament. So you know it's huge. It's not 1,000, not 500, not 40. No, it's mentioned over 6,800 times in the Old Testament, particularly in connection with God's self-existence and eternal nature. The name is significant in the context of God's relationship with His people. See, that's why I say my race, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and here in the Western world, we have been cursed because we can't use that name, Yahweh or Yahuwah. They both got Yah in it. His people, emphasizing His eternal presence and commitment. We have received the curse because we're going around using the name that the Gentiles love to call Him. That's why we've been under the curse. That the Spirit told me. We can't call Him by His actual Hebrew name. No, we're going around saying God. And as this little passage show you, it occurs in the Old Testament 6,800 times. And if anybody knows the Old Testament, whenever we talk about the end of the world and all that stuff and prophecy, the Old Testament is the major place we go to learn about the future prophecies. So don't throw away the Old Testament. Whenever we talk about prophecy, that's where people are going at. Like the book of Daniel, for instance. Let me see. Let's go on. All right. In the Old Testament, a person's name often, oh, that's important. A person name often reflects his character. When I use the word God, what does it mean? We know it means some creator, but it does not reflect his character. When he say I am, that means, oh Lord, that means I'm eternal, I'm self-existent, I'm forever. When I say God, what that mean? Like I say, is it Thor? Is it Hercules? Is it Zeus? Is it the Hindu God? Is it a Muslim God? But no, if you walk with the God of Moses, it's the so-called Christian God. But I don't even use that word Christian, but I'm just saying for the most of the world we use Christian. So I said, Abraham, see, here we go again. Abraham means father of a great multitude. That's what Abraham means. See, a name tell you about the character of the individual. Eve, Mother Eve, means living, which is fitting because she was the mother of all living people. Jesus, or Yeshua, because you remember, like I said, we let the Gentiles mess us up because I did my research. The word Jesus derived from the Greeks. They call him Azus. How that sound? You hear it? Azus. Jesus. From the pagans. His actual name was Yahshua. Yeshua. That's what I call him now too. I call Yahweh, Yahweh, and Yeshua, Yeshua. I try to drop the pagan ways. Means savior. So we see, coming back up here, a person's name often reflects his character. Easy as that. The word God does not tell you anything about the character of the Creator. When I say Yahweh, I'm saying I am, to be, he is. That's saying what this individual is like. Now, see, I did some research on biblical names. If you know anything about the Bible, a lot of people had that word Yah in its name. Going back to the God of the Hebrews. And I heard too even more about this, getting back to the original language. They even started that name of Yah, like Yahshua. Many of them start that name of Yah, but it got translated to the English language. So hey, it still got some of his name in there. For instance, Ahiah, Deborah, Isaiah, Micah, Jonah, Jeremiah, Elijah, Hodiah, Joshua. That's a little bit different, but it still got the Yah. It still got the same Yah. Hananiah, Micah, Micaiah. You got my point, people. So thank you for my good people for stopping by. Let's see the name of the absolute creator. Yahweh is his name. Yahweh or Yahuwah, whichever you prefer, but whether anyone you're using, you're still saying I am. He is. To be. Simple and plain. As we saw in I think the last passage, names, especially, and anyone know this, even African people, definitely African people, which most of the people in the Bible come from the African continent. Names have a meaning. If you ever saw the movie Roots, that was produced in I believe the late 1970s, the one Kizzy. Toby said Kizzy has a meaning to it. It means stay put. African heritage. The people in Hebrew, they was close to African people. And you see where Israel at. Israel is extremely close to Africa. All throughout the Bible it mentioned Africa. But getting back to the main point, names in the book have a meaning. Many people in the book call themselves Yah. Thank you for stopping by. I hope this is enlightening to you, and I hope you make the journey like I do to stop saying God, 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 and I use Yahweh. Until the next time, family, peace.